Of all the strangeness in the last year, the piece that I find the most creepy of all is this little phrase, follow the science. Whenever I hear that phrase, what I hear is follow the narrative. And that is antithetical to good scientific process. In a rather extreme case of this, an MIT research group who were looking at lockdown skeptic organizations around the world noted the following. They said that these groups seem to believe that science is a process and not an institution, and that they were prompting people to simply think for themselves, to horrifying ends. I find it quite astonishing. But perhaps even more astonishing is the incredible degree of arrogance that was demonstrated recently by none other than Anthony Fauci. Looking straight into the camera, he said the words,
"Attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science."
When you attack Anthony Fauci, you are attacking the science itself. The doctrine of Fauci infallibility comes to the world. And it is emblematic of what has gone on here. There has been no debate, no engagement permitted. It's censored. And it's astonishing because the scale of what has been done to the world is immense.
You think about this. I got expelled from Instagram because of vaccine misinformation. But Instagram and Facebook cannot point to one single erroneous statement that I ever made. Everything we post is vetted, it is sourced and cited to government databases or peer-reviewed publications. When they use the term vaccine misinformation, they are using it as a euphemism for any statement that departs from official government policies and pharmaceutical industry profit-taking. It has nothing to do whether it's true or false. It only has to do with what the political implications are. And who is doing this censorship? It's government officials in league with Bill Gates, with Larry Ellison, with Mark Zuckerberg, with Sergey Brin from Google, and with all of these internet titans. They have engineered not only the destruction of our democracy and our civil rights, but they have engineered the biggest shift of wealth in human history. $3.8 trillion from working people to these handful of billionaires, many of them from Silicon Valley. This pandemic has impoverished the world and created 500 new billionaires. And those are the people who are strip mining our economies and making themselves rich. And is it a coincidence that these are the same people who are censoring criticism of the government policies that are bringing them trillions of dollars? People aren't stupid. We can see what's happening. We can ask the question, cui bono? And the answer is the people who are benefiting are the people who are squeezing away our constitutional rights and engineering the destruction of democracy.
What you doing? Well, I'm just looking at this article. No. You gotta listen to the science. But these guys are doctors and scientists. Yeah, but they're not our scientists. Hey, back off, man. You're getting too close. Mandate. Stop that. Mandate. Can somebody help me, please? It's just a small prick. Listen, man, I've got rights. Trust me. Trust the science. Trust it. Trust it. No. Trust it. No. Let's just keep this between us. Government-mandated medical rape. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Death with the Center for Dominance and Control Over People. Critical thinking isn't a pandemic we have to worry about in the future. It's a pandemic that's here now. The critical thinking crisis is upon us. What are we doing to combat this disaster? Well, it's probably not what you think. I'll explain the measures we're taking in just a moment. But first, Let's take a look at the harm that critical thinking causes. People think it's safe to just laugh at things like the New York Times article warning against critical thinking, but they have no idea that the catastrophic effects of critical thinking are worse than they think. This dangerous practice propagates information and is therefore very dangerous to the misinformation and disinformation that we're trying to help you with. Now, viewer discretion is advised. Studies show that critical thinkers are less prone to believing official-looking statistics that aren't true in objective reality. Critical thinkers tend to ask questions and do things like impair the agenda of the World Economic Forum that's just trying to help you by controlling every aspect of your life. So society is no place for critical thinking. I'm gonna lean in and soften my voice so you'll trust me more. For some reason, critical thinkers follow the money trail from mandates to who profits from them, and that makes them suspicious and curious about what's really going on. And ultimately, it makes them less obedient. And what the past 2 years have taught us is obedience is what makes us a happy, healthy, sleeping society. When critical thinking goes up, obedience goes down. And can you imagine how hard that is on the elites? I mean, put yourself in their shoes and just imagine you were a sheep farmer and every member of your flock thought for themselves. It would be very hard, if not impossible, to get your flock to benefit you at the expense of themselves. Have you ever realized when you're critically thinking, what you're really doing is oppressing the elites? If you practice critical thinking, then you won't be in touch with objective reality. And the problem with that is, you won't be scared of grave dangers that don't exist in objective reality that we can protect you from. And if you're not protected from them, then you can just think about what would happen. Better than you thinking about what would happen, let me just tell you, you would die. I'm gonna lean in further now so that you'll trust me even more. Our top scientists who have been captured by corporate interests have shown that humans aren't even designed to think critically, because for humans to be able to think critically in a way that's in their best interest, they'd have to hypothetically develop a new part of the brain called the neocortex. And based on our recent studies, we found no evidence that humans have a neocortex, or an immune system for that matter.
The Ash experiment is one of psychology's oldest and most popular pieces of research. A volunteer is told that he's taking part in a visual perception test. What he doesn't know is that the other participants are actors, and he's the only person taking part in the real test, which is actually about group conformity.
Please begin. The experiment you will be taking part in today involves the perception of line length. Your task will be simply to look at the line here on the left and indicate which of the 3 lines on the right is equal to it in length. So, for example, if you...
The actors have been told to match the wrong lines. The volunteer will be monitored to see if he gives the correct answer or if he goes along with the opinion of the group and gives the wrong answer. In the first test, the correct answer is 2.
1.
2.
1. Once again, the correct answer is 2.
3.
3.
3.
The Ash experiment has been repeated many times, and the results have been supported again and again. We will conform to the group. Again, we're very social creatures. We're very much aware of what the people around us think. We want to be liked. We don't want to be seen to rock the boat, so we will go along with the group. Even if we don't believe what people are saying, we'll still go along.
1.
Group dynamics is one of the most powerful forces in human psychology.
Well, if critical thinking is the problem, what are we doing about it? Well, we are on a mission and will stop at nothing to ban critical thinking. Just imagine a socialist utopia society free of the burdens of being allowed to think, own possessions, connect with other humans, and abiding by your own free will. With regard to what influences people, there's a very inverse relationship between propaganda and critical thinking. That's why the modern-day book-burning practices of censorship, fact-checking, and deplatforming are so important. Whenever you feel tempted to think critically, just turn on the news and let one of our useful idiots that we pay place the correct thoughts in your head. It's like if you were a gardener, you wouldn't want to just grow your own vegetables when you could grow someone else's weeds instead. Do you think banning critical thinking is an uphill task that's someone else's responsibility? That's where you're wrong. You can help too. How can you help? Well, when you see someone who's showing symptoms of curiosity, where they're on the verge of thinking about something, teach them how to look it up instead of thinking about it. On one of our obedience-friendly websites like PolitiFact, factcheck.org, or Google, you'll find the thought police have already done the thinking for them, so they won't have to. Wouldn't you rather have someone do the dirty work for you, like mowing your lawn, doing your dishes, doing your wife, doing your thinking, so you won't have to? If you see someone who insists on putting everyone in danger by thinking critically, the right thing to do is to shame them by calling them things like racist, science denier, white supremacist, and anti-vaxxer. You becoming a soldier and self-policing other citizens into compliance by shaming them and intimidating them is really the only way the elites can be successful on this one. We are never going to have a free society where everyone is free to do as they're told if everyone's still enslaved by their own thinking and therefore free will. And now I'm going to hold this again to look more intelligent and soften my tone from authoritarian to friendly. But with a little help, we can together put an end to critical thinking once and for all and say hello to a beautiful new beginning of complete control and safety that Satan's been wanting for us. Please protect yourself and those around you, and just say no to critical thinking.
All right, Jason. I just need you to stay there till the curve is flat. 2 weeks tops.
All right, it's been 15 days. I'm gonna come out now.
Whoa, 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 Jason! You need to stay in here until we have a vaccine.
But 15 days to flatten the curve.
Who said that?
You.
Jason, you'll get to leave eventually, okay? We just need a vaccine, and then you're good.
Is there a vaccine?
Yep. Here you go, Jason.
Finally.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Jason, what are you doing?
Seriously?
Jason, we have to wait until everyone else is vaccinated.
That's impossible.
Okay, well, at least until there's a second round of booster shots.
How about now?
Third round. Fourth round. 0 new cases. 12th jab. We need the vaccine passports for everyone. Not until there are no new cases in humans. No new cases in animals. Not until a room full of monkeys with typewriters compose Shakespeare. Jason, the monkeys got COVID.
No.
Look, once they flatten their curve, I'll let you out. Okay, they flattened their curve.
Oh, great.
Now we just have to wait until all diseases are eliminated.
Ah! How long have you been keeping me in here?
Jason, you've been keeping yourself in there. Now I'm keeping you in there.
It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers, people who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Man, you know? And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
When I was in psychological operations in the Army in 2003, it was illegal to run psychological operations on the American people. Well, Obama changed that in 2014. Now it's perfectly legal to run PSYOP on the American people. You're living in a multifaceted psychological operations exercise on every front. I want you to ask yourself, when you're being told information like Bill Gates says there's going to be a surprise outbreak, or Fauci says there's going to be this or that, or vials of smallpox are suddenly found and you get to know about it. Why? Why do you get to know about it? Because they're setting up a narrative. What is that narrative? What does the narrative gain? Everything in these operations are designed to make you afraid so that you do what the powers that be want you to do, okay? Win the hearts and minds of the people, okay? And that's done with fear. So stop being afraid. You do not fear men. Your soul is eternal. Stop being afraid and stand up.
Edmund Burke once said, "All that is necessary for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing." People around the planet are not willing to do nothing, taking to the streets to speak their voice. We make a great error if we don't do that which we can do simply because all we can do is just a little. What we're seeing around the globe is little by little, we're seeing adding up. That's what we're seeing. That's what's happening in Austria. That's what's happening in Germany. That's what's happening in Croatia. The Netherlands. Could you have imagined this kind of groundswell uprising? I think we need to step back and say, what are we seeing here? I think what we're seeing around the globe when we see tens and hundreds of thousands of people taking to the streets, they're declaring in a unified voice, I will live for freedom. That's the cause that will consume me. That's the cause that will make me drop everything and go speak with my voice to join onto other voices. It's what we choose to live for. I'm walking away from my job. I'm walking away from my home. I'm going to the streets. I may be bullied, coerced, physically abused. I may get shot at. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know this, that in my heart, nothing matters more than my freedom.
One of the most life-changing, liberating decisions that you're ever going to make is deciding that nobody's ever going to bully you ever again. No pressurizing, no forcing, no coercing. When you know it's outside of your standards and morals, it's a no. But don't take this decision lightly. If you decide that that's going to happen, don't take the decision lightly. See, we can all make decisions, can't we? But actually making them come about, actually going forward with it, actually doing it, that's a whole different ball game, isn't it? From just making the decision. So don't take this lightly. Why? Because you're listening to yourself. Every time we make a decision and defy it, allow somebody to coerce us, pressurize us, force us into something, allow ourselves to be bullied, we're listening to ourselves. So you must go ahead. You must do what it is that you've decided that you're going to do. And then it's practice. As much as anything else, it's just practice then, isn't it? We're going to slip up. Are we going to make mistakes? Are people going to trick us? Are people going to fool us? Yeah, of course these things are going to happen, but then it's how we learn from it and react to it and then go back to the ultimate decision that we're not going to allow it to happen. It is the most liberating, life-changing decision that you can make, but you have to stick with it.
The world is a lie. Nothing is real.